Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Filip Satanov, and my topic of my presentation is going to be sensor network hardware security. The objective of the paper is the unattended sensor network as a major target of hackers who attempt to manipulate sensor operation, modify them, copy or steal data, and use compromised sensor to disrupt the network's performance. They show the security of both individual sensor nodes and the entire network fragments is important. The objective of the networks is to study the specific and hardware security in sensor devices in networks. Emphasis is placed on the identified security threats in sensor networks, their specifics and opportunities of overcoming and preventions. Outlines is the introduction, short introduction, the threats of the security of the networks depending on their hardware used, and there is the efficient affecting the hardware security of the sensor network. Threats from the hardware trojans in sensor networks, manipulating of the chips and integrated circuits of sensor devices, attacks on around hammer attacks depending on the location of the sensor network, side channel attacks, approaches to increase the hardware security, methods to increase the security after chips production, methods of prevention and development, and adopting of international, national, and companies' programs and standards. Despite of the large application of the sensors, are serious problems is the security of the sensor nodes and data, especially when working with sensitive information. Any threats to their functionality can be critical. My experience and observation, as well as the analysis of the conducted study, shows that the hardware security of the sensor devices has been influenced studied. Due to this fact, an attempt has been made to the study of specific of hardware security in sensor devices and networks. The focus is to identify the security threats in sensor networks and their specific and opportunities for overcoming and prevention. An essential disadvantage of the sensor networks is the limitation resources of the sensors, such as limited energy capacity and limited electrical power. The computing power of the CPU is limited from 8 MHz to 60 MHz in most cases. Limited radio range, limited memory capacity, limited programming memory and data memory, wireless communication environment, hardware abstraction and firmware, and unobtended perimeter of the network and network in unmonitored part. The threats from the hardware trojans in the sensor networks are the integrated circuits are the main component in all electric devices and can be modified to malicious monitoring and record their functions. The hardware trojans call it a malicious modification of integrated circuits. The hardware trojan ultimately concerns the integrated circuits functionality, which can be modified during design the production under assets conditions defined by the attacker. In general, the malicious trojans attempt to bypass or disable the building security in networks devices, but can also disable, disrupt, or destroy the entire chips or its components. Manipulating of the chips and integrated circuits of the sensor devices. In the growing demand of the integrated circuits worldwide, the requirements for a low price in the connections with the comprehensive of the companies motivate them into look for different options to reduce the cost, such as approaches in most offer their productions in countries with the cheap labor with limited supervision over the production process of complex and sensitive integrated circuits, and consider it in the quality and correctness of the work is the paramount importance when choosing a manufacturer. Um, Down on the slide, I'm showing the possible stages for integrated circuits, manipulation of the sensor devices, and how they are going to work after their production. Manipulation of the chips, the introduction of the new technologies, the large-scale integration, and the deep submicron technologies also increase the difficulty to detect hardware Trojan horses, and also can be insert in various ways into the chips, which is showing in the figure. The most likely is going to be insert the Trojan in the processor, in the memory, can be inserted somehow in the input-output communications, the power supply, and also the clock of the device. Attacks on raw hammer is the data thief technologies and combined digital and physical hacking. It's a vulnerability in the dynamic DRAM or random access memory chip that allows the attackers to exploit the devices with the DRAM memory. It calls the binary stage of the bits and the transistors to be reversed in the advanced rows of the memory. A replicated access memory is the access memory. Attack depending on the location, the sensor networks. The replacement with the fake or replication under the attacker's control is a very dangerous stuff. The fake nodes may affect malicious data into the sensor, provide the false data, or prevent the phase of the transmitting accurate data. Also, the inserting the malicious node is one of the most dangerous attacks that can be occur, and the node replication is other possibilities type of attack in an uncontrolled environment. Side channel attack. In side channel attack, the attacker does not physically attack the hardware, but create a condition to measuring a certain parameters of the sensors of the network, such as power, time analysis, in cryptography, electromagnetic radiation, acoustic sound, etc. In the sensor network, side channel attacks collected information from the sensor devices without providing access to the system directly. With the help, of course, with the appropriate calculations, the hacker retrieves that secret cryptographic keys, and attackers need, but he needs special equipment like probes, oscilloscopes, band amplifier, or special analysis software. On the slide is showing approaches to increase the hardware security, to integrate it into the circuit and the chips. Actually, it needs to require a good hardware detection from the hardware Trojan horses. The amplified techniques mainly access the deviation from the system behavior caused by that kind of viruses or the hardware Trojan horses. It's also important that the use of that approaches require designers to know the original device specification parameters as well. Methods to increase the security after the chip production. The method is used two major groups, destructible and indestructible. The use of the destructive methods is optional and applied in the cases of the quality assessments of only one chip per the bench of per shipment, not destructive method, which is includes functional testing, site analysis, time testing, time monitoring, and runtime monitoring. Also, the methods of the prevention. There is a method that practically creates a barrier to the admission of the Trojans into the hardware of the sensor devices. There is the hardware countermeasures, hardware security, trust platforms, hardware management of preventive models, team spins, bus monitors of is a new paradigm of the security hardware and hardware basic control for cloud and corporate environment is a hardware-based security. Development of the adoption of the international, national, and the company's programs and some standards are showing on the slide. I'm showing that in the United States, for example, in the Pentagon, there are different ways, which is a need, some standardization of the manufacturer and companies, which is selling specific devices to that to the United States government and etc. The conclusion is that the hardware trojans are malicious changes to the hardware specific during the design of the, or manufacture of the sensor chips that added the functionality of the EC under conditions specialized by the attackers. The discovery of that hardware trojan modules is a practically difficult task. All stages of the designs to deliver the integrated circuits, including the pre-solution design phase, are vulnerable to the malicious interference. The pre-conducted influence the hardware security, the characteristic of the trojans and the hardware attacks, the stages at which EC manipulation is possible, the possible threats to the security of the sensor networks caused by the hardware attacks, and some approaches to increase the hardware security of the sensor networks have been identified and proposed. Thank you for your attention.